This is Nada,
This is Tony.
and we are reviewing the 30 Days of Thought with Jay Doran.
And today we're going to be discussing the lesson entitled Word, Title of Our Life. Well, this one resonated a lot with me. It's all about how important our words are. And I am just a big believer in in really paying attention to the words that come out of our mouths.
Mm,
Um, there's a very, very old saying that the power of life and death are in the tongue,
mm.
and that directly refers to the words that are coming out of our mouths can, can,
You see the high went down? Yeah,
it disappeared.
yeah, it disappeared.
You okay?
Yeah, it almost disappeared.
um, it's glitches, right? But yeah, that phrase is directly related to the fact that the words that come out of our mouths can bring life or can bring death.
Mhm.
I think it's. I mean, it can be figurative and literal death. I know in the book, Jay Doran talks about being careful of the word you speak in the presence of your enemy because it might mean death. Right?
Mhm.
Words have led to many fights, many wars. But I think more more than just immediate death from an enemy. Like no, most of us don't have that threat, right? That we're gonna
Mhm.
say something that's gonna cause somebody, an enemy to kill you. But I do think that the words that we speak definitely can bring life or death to our situation, right?
Mhm.
Um, because words are power, and as he says, words are just our outward expression of our thoughts. And I think, um, sometimes the words that we use are just habitual words, right? Things that we're used to saying, things that we're used to hearing people say to us. And even though words are supposed to be a reflection of our thoughts, I'm not sure that we always really think through the words that are coming out of our mouth sometimes, because sometimes they're just spoke out of emotion, right? And so it's really bad when they're spoken out of anger, because then it's like your mouth is moving faster than your brain can stop it sometimes, right? You just want to stuff it back in your mouth and catch what you're saying. But that really is his whole point here, that words have so much power. And for me, I think this about me because Tim used to always look up words, and I think he had shared that with you as well. One of the things that I love to do is pull out the etymology dictionary and look up the origin of words, um, because you learn so much about the original intent of a word when you go back to where it started, its first usage. And then you also get to see how much the meaning of a word has changed over the centuries.
Mhm.
But, words are only as important in communication as, the level of understanding that's happening between two people, right? Like if you're talking to somebody and they from another country, for example, one word might mean something completely different in that culture, right? In that country. But I think that we forget that even applies, even if we're reading, let's say, English literature, and we're reading something that was written centuries ago, right? We're
Mhm.
assuming off the bat, you assume that the words that you're reading mean exactly what you think they mean today. But most times we're not getting the message properly because the word had a different meaning back when it was written, right?
Mhm.
And I think that we see that still. Some of us may have learned certain words or phrases from our childhood,
Mhm.
and we use them today thinking that they mean the same thing to everyone, but it doesn't. I mean, we have that even in America, right? People up north, in the northeastern states of America, they use different words than we do down here. Like I know I've always ever called soda soda, but then I know a lot of people in the US that call it pop.
Mhm.
But then pop means something completely different to me,
Mhm.
you know. And so, just words are only as good as the understanding between the people that are using them, right?
Mhm.
Um, and the reason I mentioned the etymology dictionary is because you get to see how the original intent, the original definition of a word it almost, in some cases, the original intention of the word seems to almost be ingrained in culture at some level. And I think I've heard, and I don't know if you've heard this, that words carry a frequency. I don't know if you've heard that before. Words carry a
Mm-hmm.
frequency. Words have a certain vibration
Yep, they
because
can lift
words,
your energy too. Mm-hmm.
exactly, because words are vibration. Um, if you can measure the waves that words are creating, it's just sound, and so it is moving the energy, moving the air. It's carrying a frequency like music. And because of the deeper frequency of the words, there seems to be in some cases, I mean, in a lot of cases, when you go back to the original intention of the word, that the word does carry a frequency based on the original intention. I'll give you an example. The word influence. We use the word influence so much now in our society, right? Everybody's talking about influencers. You want to be an influencer. This person is an influencer on social media. Like, you hear it all the time now. But when you actually look up the original meaning of influence, and I have it here, that word, they've traced it all the way back to the 1300s. And the original French word was emanation or coming from the stars in a way that acts upon one's character and destiny. And I thought, wow, that's funny. I don't think that anybody using the word influencer today is thinking that deep, right? But we do expect that an influencer causes a change in someone's character, right? Influencers today cause people to act in a certain way. So an influencer can influence somebody to buy a product because they advertise it on their Instagram channel, right? So they are influencing people. But the deeper original meaning was that you would influence them in a way that would change their character and their destiny. But then it also was very key that it was in a way that came from the stars. And in the 1400s, they literally had influence listed as an astrological term. They said that the meaning back then was streaming ethereal power from the stars.
Wow.
Right? It's a very, very, very astrological, very spiritual meaning to me. When you're talking about ethereal power, you're talking about God power. You're talking about source energy power, right? That's the ethers, right? And so that was the original meaning, to stream ethereal power from the stars. And when the stars were in a certain position, that would act upon the character or destiny of men. So it literally was that the spirit, the stars, energy power from the stars would influence men in a way that it would change their character or destiny. Mm-hmm. So that's a really deep definition of the word influence, right? Absolutely. But today we use it somewhat lightly when we're always talking about people being influencers today. Mm-hmm. But at its core, the word still means the same, right? That the people who are influencers now, they're basically influencing people to buy or to, do whatever it is that they're doing to be like them. So it kind of has the same root meaning, but it's interesting to see just how deep the original meaning of the word went. And I think that kind of gives us an idea of the frequency, the vibration of the word, that if the word influence has a vibration to it, being able to change the character and destiny of someone, then even today, although it's a watered down version of the word, it still kind of carries that same intent. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's just words are fascinating to me, the power of the word.
For me, I didn't want to do this chapter.
No.
Yeah, no, because for me, it's, I've been so guilty on using my words, the wrong way. And, even I just want to read you a couple of, just a sentence here from this chapter. It says, the words we speak keep in line the energy of our thoughts, like you mentioned, Tony, and they influence those near us and those apart from us. The words we speak, transcribe, and leave behind long after we are gone. And, for me, this was really deep. It brought me back to, when I was a child, and, things that was said to me when I was younger. What came up for me was, I remember, being a child and, coming home and getting, I was never like an A student, so I was, maybe a C student, and then my mom obviously did not want me to be a C student. So I would work really, 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 really hard, to try to bring her those B's. And then when I would bring her the B's, then she wanted A's, and it was just, it was this constant of, her telling me that, that I needed, to do better. But for me, being that young, I was like, but I try so hard. I worked so hard to get this B, and I tried so hard to get the C, and it just felt like it really wasn't good enough, and, that stayed with me for a long time, feeling that I wasn't good enough, and as I think about it as an adult, I realized that the words that were told to me when I was younger kind of stood with me,
Yeah.
Through many years of my life, and it affected me in different areas of my life as well. And this is just a small example of so many different things where words or certain things were said to me that, and I'm not blaming my mom, and I'm not blaming, anybody out there, but we're so quick to talk, and sometimes we don't just stop and listen to the words that are coming out of our mouth.
Yeah.
And sometimes we do a lot more harm, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
than 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 anything else, to be honest. And especially when you're small, when you're a child, when we're parents, I think that we have a huge accountability and a responsibility as a parent to be very careful the way we speak to our children. And I mean, I know this now as a parent. Was I a perfect parent? Absolutely not. I made a lot of mistakes, and I'm sure that I told my children things that I should have not said to them, and I guess what I'm trying to say is that, yes, I think we're all guilty of saying things that we should not have said to another person or shared. But do understand that you do have a choice. You have a choice to think about it before you say it. I like to think that the words that come out of your mouth can be as sharp as a sword sometimes. And sometimes those words can leave behind deep wounds. And these deep wounds that you leave behind um, can stay with a person for a long, long, long time. So it's better, we're very quick to be reactive, right? I say that if you're a reactive person, if you are the kind of person that kind of like speaks out very quickly out of anger, or or you're in a situation that you're not being yourself, you're upset, you're whatever, your emotions are not balanced, and something is going on, and just it's better to just kind of wait. Also, another thing that has helped me has been, okay, I just need some time off. I just need some time to think about this before I say anything.
Yeah.
Because to be honest with you, most of the time that I speak very quickly from a reactive place, they are not what, if I had to think about it, I would have said it different.
Yeah.
I would have said it different. I would have handled it different. Um, and but the beauty of it is that I recognize this right now.
Yeah.
And does it always work? Hell no. Sometimes I still make those mistakes. I get to go back and realize what I did and learn from those mistakes so that I can be better and better as I keep growing.
Yeah.
But one thing that I do really, if there's anything that you're going to get from this message, is just be very careful about the words that come out of your mouth, because you can use your words to either break someone or make someone. So
Yep.
make sure that you're using your words to uplift someone and not to break them down.
Very true. Yeah, and he even has another sentence here, which speaks to what you were talking about, when we were kids and to our kids. And that's a sentence that we find ourselves stuck in conflict, plagued by the unaware repercussions of our word. The ripple effect of past negative energy bounces back to us, knocking us in the face. And that's so true. There is an energy to it, a long-standing energy to it, because even as you were talking, I remember something as small as hearing when we were young. We had old-fashioned parents that had that saying that kids are to be seen and not heard.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was that generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we heard that all the time. When grown-ups are talking, kids need to go in the room, go upstairs, go whatever, stay out of grown folks' conversation,
Yes. Yes.
right?
You're not allowed to have your own opinion or anything. It doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't count.
No, it doesn't count. You're too little.
Mm-hmm.
And those words, I know for me, they stuck with me. They stuck with me in a way that that I continued through my early adulthood, not voicing my opinion on things. Really being very very wary of when was the right time to speak. When was it okay to speak? When was it okay to be in a conversation that didn't directly involve you? So yeah, the words have far-reaching implications in our lives. And I try to really, I'm like we said before, I'm super analytical, so I overthink everything, and so I do the same thing when it comes to words. I know that words have a deep effect on people, and once spoken, you can't take them back. Sorry doesn't take it back.
Mm-mm.
I didn't mean it doesn't take it back. And there's the phrase that it was a Freudian slip, which you kind of slipped and didn't mean to say that. But those are the most meaningful, because those are the things that are spoken from the heart. And yeah, you could clean it up later, but no, you really meant it. You meant what you said in exactly the same way, in exactly the way you said it. If you could think about it, you would not have said it, but you did mean it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that. And I think that's how most people take it, that when we say something, the second thing you say to apologize or say I didn't mean it or try to take it back, we know that that's the not true part. That's the censored you, right? That's the part of you censoring what you're saying. But what you said first is the part that it really reveals your heart. Right or wrong, it reveals how you felt, right? Based on your current information. That's how you felt. So I know that words are super powerful. And I think here the title of this chapter, where he says words title, is the title of our lives. I think he's really turning it in on us, right? Because everything, like you said, we're not blaming anybody. We're not perfect. Our parents, weren't perfect. I mean, none of us came with manuals, right?
Right.
There's no manual on how to raise a kid, right way, wrong way to raise a kid. So there's no blame. And I've always believed that the minute you can form your lips to blame somebody, you've got enough knowledge to take care of it yourself. You've got enough knowledge to be introspective and seek your own help to try and address whatever your issue is that you're blaming somebody for, right?
Yep.
So we know that we're responsible.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this chapter is really challenging us to see how our words are creating the book of our own lives.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes not just what we're saying to other people, but what we're saying to ourselves and about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, that's a big, that's
right. Because whatever we declare we are,
mm-hmm.
then our life becomes a book
Mm-hmm.
that reflects that statement, those statements that we make about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so, we have these, you talked the other day about self-limiting beliefs, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we also have these things that I call self-fulfilling prophecies,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whatever you're claiming or stating about your life, speaking over your life becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You outpicture exactly what you keep claiming to be, and it could be something as little. And I think we hear this a lot in, with speakers like Tony Robbins or, different motivational speakers that will point out to us that our words matter. And so something as small as constantly repeating that you're tired. People say, oh, I'm tired. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I'm so drained. Right. Well, you're going to get, I'm so tired. You're like, no, but I'm saying it because I feel that way. Yeah, but it's kind of which came first. Because if you keep putting it out there, you're going to start having this experience where you always feel drained and you always feel tired. I think we hear it a lot in when it comes to building wealth, right? You hear, and I'm sure you've heard it as well, where we'll be told not to say you're broke. Stop saying you're broke. Stop saying, which is most popular. People don't typically say they don't have money. They say, oh, I'm so broke, right? They're so broke. And we're told don't say that because it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like money runs away from you. If you're always claiming to be broke, your life is gonna outpicture always being broke. So I think kind of what we're saying, and to sum it up, it really is kind of the affirmations that we're hearing, right? Affirmations are words that you're speaking over your life. And not always do you completely believe whatever you're affirming. When you start, making these affirmations, you may not always believe it as you first start to say it, but it's a matter of those words becoming your life.
Yeah, I think you can take this chapter and apply it to many different areas of your life. You can apply it to how are you being with other people, what's coming out of your mouth, how are you treating people, what kind of things you're saying to other people. Are you really coming from a place of love, or are you coming from a place of anger? And so that's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it also is words that have been spoken to you. How has that affected you, and are you still holding on to that? And if you are, you need to come to terms with that, and you need to do the work. You need to do the work and not believe that if someone called you a name or says something that was not nice and it was inappropriate, don't believe that you're that, right? And you need to do the work yourself. You need to move forward, and you need to do something about that. But also, like I said, going back to number one, we're so responsible. I mean, you have to be conscious of the choices that you're making every day and the words that are coming out of your mouth, not only for others, but also for yourself.
Yeah. We're definitely declaring our lives. You use affirmations, right?
I use affirmations every day.
Yeah, I thought so, right? And so, what are affirmations? They're just words that we're declaring over our lives for the day. We're expecting that we're going to move towards them. Even if they're not completely true at the moment that we're declaring them, we believe in affirmations because we believe that the words that are coming out of our mouths are going to cause things to be drawn to us. Right? So I think that affirmations are all about a belief that words matter deeply. And he in this chapter, he even he goes into even your profession. Like you said, there's many levels to this chapter, right?
There is a lot. I could sit here and I could just think about so many different things that this will apply to.
Yeah.
Whether I am the receiver or I am the giver.
Yeah.
It's just so many different ways that you can look at this chapter and kind of start evaluating, how am I contributing to this?
Yeah.
How am I contributing to spreading the word?
Yeah.
And how am I contributing when someone speaks to me?
Right.
What am I thinking about it?
Yeah. No, it's
so
true.
So many different ways.
No, it's true. He talks about profession, right? How you speak it for your profession. I think you and I had a conversation the other day about this when talking to a client.
Mm.
You know, our words as the professional in a situation can instill fear in someone
Mm.
about a transaction, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And so not always is that our intention, right? In a professional environment, things that we as the professionals take for granted, like, oh, oh, this came up, but it's nothing. It's super simple, easy to handle, no big deal. But what's no big deal to us, if we mention it to a client, if not presented in the right way, can cause a freak out moment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a real example of when words matter in a professional environment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I mean, you and I talked the other day about incepting someone, implanting someone with an idea,
Mm.
and how once you implant an idea in someone's head, it literally grows and grows, and it can grow into a beautiful flower or into a deadly weed.
Mm.
And I think that is also the power of words when we're speaking to people. That if
Mm.
you plant an idea into someone's head, where's that going to grow?
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, it's like with my granddaughter. She's 2, and I realize just how much she listens to the words you're using, and she'll repeat them, and she'll tilt her head and kind of squint, for understanding. And I realize just how impactful each word is, and how you can impart this idea. And so, like, one of the words that she learned from one of her little shows, which I was like, okay, I'm not sure I like that that's in the show, but it was the word scary.
Mm.
How does a 2-year-old know how to be scared, to be scary, But it came up around Halloween, when they're doing the little Halloween shows.
Mm.
And of course, they're trying to be sensitive to not scaring kids, not really being horrific, but they are doing these cute little shows about, oh, this is scary. This is scary. And I noticed, though, after she was introduced to this idea of scary, she started applying it to other things in real life. It was a cute little, ghost thing that they showed you. There was no ghost on her little show. They would show you there's no ghost, and that it was a game, and that the kids would laugh that there's this thing hiding behind a sheet, whatever. And she realized it was fun. But then in real life, it's like, for instance, when our dog would bark because she thought she heard someone at the door.
Oh.
My granddaughter's going, oh, scary. Like, now she's thinking, who's outside the door? That's scary. So it's like this little idea of what scary means was planted in her mind. And now you see this 2-year-old little mind
She's applying it to
finding,
everything.
finding ways to apply this idea of scary, and she's 2, but we all do that. When we're presented with these new ideas, we internalize them, and they have a way of growing. So,
Oh, and they
you
stick
know,
with you.
huh?
And they grow and they stick with you.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They grow and they
Mhm.
stick with us, even as adults. These ideas grow and stick with us. So, um, yeah, just super, super, super important to be very aware of the words in all the different ways that you said,
Mhm.
receiving it, giving it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
So just
just
remember to use your words to inspire others, to uplift,
yes,
and just be very conscious of your words and choose your words wisely.
exactly, exactly. Especially self-talk.
Yeah, that's right.
All
I
right.
am
Well,
enough. I am enough. So,
yes, yes, yes. I love that. I love that affirmation. I am enough.
yep,
Well, thank
absolutely.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Good having you guys, and thank you for watching.
All
See you
right.
next time.
See you next
Bye.
time. Bye-bye.